I'm back. Lighting is better with the door closed, unfortunately. At least I still got natural light. There's a glass door over there. I record these in the shed, so lighting's never too good, but Doesn't really talk about, but might yap about my father or myself, maybe. Depends how narcissistic I want to be. Let's see. I guess we could start about talking about my earlier life with sports and such. May as well. When I was younger, I played for GAA football. I played GAA football. I did that for many years with my class in primary school. Did that for like 3-4 years. Played in Croke Park, which is the biggest stadium in Ireland, if you don't know. What else? I really didn't enjoy it. I don't really care for football at all, despite my whole family, at least on my father's side, being very into it. It's kind of their whole deal. I'm not into it at all. Never liked it, never will. But, it's my culture, I guess. I'm glad to say I at least indulged in it. I'm not sure how my phone shook there. We're having an earthquake, apparently. Ireland's first. Anyway, after playing GAA football, I went on to play rugby for like a year, maybe. A year might be pushing it, but played a year of rugby. Got bullied for that for good reasons. I was being very autistic at the time, and I low-key got called Four Eyes because I wore glasses. I say that like I'm still not wearing glasses, but you know what I mean. So I got bullied during that, so I quit eventually because I didn't enjoy rugby either. I was alone. I just don't enjoy the sport, and it's not like I was getting better health-wise. I was very fat back then when I was younger. Oh, that's what's causing that. Anyway, I did swimming afterwards. It might have been before, but it might be afterwards. But I did swimming for about a year or two. Because my mom used to be a great swimmer when she was younger, so she wanted me to become a swimmer. And my father never learned, so he also liked the idea. So I did swimming for a few years. Got very bored of that because swimming is very boring unless you're doing competition or if you're with a friend, but I was alone for basically all my swimming career, and then I don't like doing stuff if I'm bored of it, so moved on. Then went on to what did I move on to do? What did I just say? I moved on to then do rugby, I'm pretty sure, again, but for a different team. Not gonna say any of the teams because I doxed myself then, but played rugby again for no time at all, basically, like a few weeks, a month maybe. I did that with my best friend, my cousin, my only friend today, in real life anyway. I have online friends, but I count them separately. But he got sick of it, and I got sick of it. I didn't enjoy it. I only did it because he liked it, but he didn't like it after a while, so we both quit. After that, went years without doing anything until I started doing boxing back in 3 years ago, so like 2021 to 2022. I did that for a year, got into the best shape of my life, and I still got the whatever these are. These are all from my boxing a few years ago. I don't know why they're still there. I haven't worked out in a long time. I don't do gym. I might, but not yet. So these muscles are pretty fake, but style points, I guess. Either way, did boxing for a year because I thought I really enjoyed boxing because I like fighting physically with consent though. I don't like fighting people because no reason. I fight because it's fun, but it's not fun if the other person doesn't want to fight. So I did boxing for a year. Then my mental health went very downward because the coaches were very strict, very mean. I was alone. Everyone there spoke a different language. It was like a Finnish or Ukrainian place, so I didn't really understand anyone. Everyone spoke in a thick accent, and for the first time in my life, I was very alone. There was no one there for me to talk to. There was no one there who I really enjoyed being around. There was this one very sweet older man. He used to be a champion back in like Ukraine or Russia back in the day. He was very nice to me. Dragged me aside on my first day because on my first day of boxing, I was still pretty out of shape, very out of shape, and they thought I was gonna get sick because of how strenuous the training is, and I wasn't ready for it. So that was fun. So he pulled me aside, taught me things. To this day, I still like to practice some of the things they taught me, but you know, I could never practice fully because you need a boxing license actually to fight, or a fighting license. I don't know what it was called, but you need a license, at least in Ireland. And I never got one because I don't know, just didn't seem needed at the time. If I kept doing it, I would have gotten one eventually, but pretty sure I was too young to get one actually. But either way, I didn't get fighting license, so I never actually done any real fighting. Just hitting like practice sparring, shadow boxing. It's mostly about fitness more than anything, because the techniques of boxing, well, there are techniques, and it takes a lot of practice to get good at things. Like something as simple as a punch, there's more layers to it than I used to think. Like there's a lot you can go into with boxing, but it's by far the sport I enjoyed most. If I had a friend with me, I probably would have kept doing it because, moral support, I guess. But I quit doing that after my mental health plummeted in like October of the year after I started. But it was a very good time. I'll remember it fondly, that's for sure. And after that, takes us to modern day. I don't do sport or really any hobbies because they're just not for me. At least none that I found yet. If I was gonna do a sport, I'd be doing fencing, go back to boxing, or maybe badminton or something. I'm not a big fan of ball sports, but badminton's alright. I'm okay at it. Tennis is like badminton to me, but I'm worse at it, so I prefer not to do it. Not really any other sports I would do. When I was younger, I used to always want to do American football. It seemed so cool to me. But as the name of that sport suggests, you can't really do it here. Can't really do American football in Ireland, shockingly enough. It's quite upsetting, but I didn't do it, and I don't care for it anymore, so it doesn't matter, does it? Now, if only they put HEMA clubs in Ireland. If someone opened one, I'd be raring to go because I really like it, but at the moment, I don't have anywhere to go for that sort of thing, so I just have to deal with it, I guess. Anyway, the reason I have such a catalog of sports to look back on was my father's insistence mainly. My mother was actually against me doing sports at one point, even despite my very big size when I was younger. Back when I did GAA football, my father got me into it, forcefully of course. I didn't want to do it, I hated going to it. My mother hated me going to it, she hated it, she didn't want me to do it at all. But she had to, because, my father wanted me to do it. It was his dream, have a successor in our history of being excellent sports GAA players, but I'm not going to continue that. I don't want to. It's not who I am. My brother also probably can't. It's probably too late for him. He used to do it, but like broken leg or something, like damaged knee, ligament or something. So he can do it, and it's pretty much too late for him now to make a career. So upsetting for my family, I suppose, but in the end, I do not care. I'm not much of a family man, at least when it comes to my parents' families. I don't really care about my own family if I ever have one. But let's see. My father wanted me to do sport for almost all my life. He still wants me to do something. I'm not going to now though, because it's nothing I enjoy doing. And if I don't enjoy it, it's going to affect my mental health, and I take my mental health very seriously. So, not doing that. He was very insistent on football. Eventually, I just stopped doing it. Then I did rugby because he wanted me to. Then I did swimming, which was actually my mom's want. And I did enjoy it. I liked swimming. It was something I wanted to do for a while. But eventually I stopped. I learned how to swim at a pretty good level, at least compared to kids at the time. So I dropped out of that. Moved on to boxing eventually. Well, before that I did rugby again, which was completely my father's want. My father and his sister, which is my best friend's mom, they wanted us to do a sport, at least together, and we chose rugby, and yeah, we didn't do that for very long. Then my father was very insistent on getting me to do a sport, so I said, not rugby, boxing. Did that for a while, and he basically guilt tripped me or like coerced me into saying I want to do it forever. Then like a week later I said to him I don't want to do it anymore, which was very funny looking back on it, but hard times. He was very disapproving of it. He really didn't want me to stop, even if it meant affected my mental health. But it is what it is. Haven't done sports since. He'd love me to do a sport, but I'm not going to. At least not at the moment. I have no passion or drive to do one. So that's where it ends for my family's sporting career, I guess. Anyway, speaking of my father, I can talk about him more, I guess. But where would I talk about that? Oh, yes. Easy start, ASD, my spectrum disorder. My Asperger's, I should really say, because I have Asperger's, not autism, but like it's the same thing. It's like Asperger's is a form of autism or something. I really don't care what it is. It's autism with a fancy name. With a fancy name indeed. But yeah, I pretty much say he forgets I have autism, which my mother. I think my mother agrees. She just doesn't want to say it out loud. Anyone I tell, they believe me because they never met him, or they have no reason to doubt me because I've seen it all firsthand. I've seen it through my own eyes. I felt it through my own emotions. I've heard it all. And although it doesn't really matter anymore because my autism is barely a part of my life anymore, I've pretty much conquered it. The only thing that really, makes my daily life different is that I go to special ed. Not because I need to, really only because I qualify for being able to go to special ed. So they were like, hey, do you want to go? It makes school easier. I was like, why not? Why wouldn't I go to that? And it sounds bad, but like after doing special ed for 4 years, people really do not care anymore. Especially if they talk to you and you see that you're kind of just a shy person. And that's about it. You can't really tell I have autism aside from just I'm quiet. If you get to know me, like I'll tell you everything. If you ask me what am I autistic about, I'll tell you everything I can. If you're looking for my autism in my life, you can find clear examples of it, but if you just watch me like an hour a day, chances are you'll never notice. Especially if I'm talking to an adult. Because even adult women, I have no problem talking to them. I'll talk like it's an old person because I don't know. I guess I'm just not shy with adults. Wish I wouldn't be shy with everyone, but it is what it is. But you can ask anyone who doesn't know I have autism. Does he have autism? And they'll say, no, does he? Well, yeah, he goes to special ed, doesn't he? It's a bit stupid because I was chilling in special ed one day, just because the day hadn't started yet. I was just in the before first class started, and my guidance counselor, which I was talking to about engineering and job opportunities for the future and subject choice for my last 2 years of school, she came in to talk to me, and she saw me in special ed, and she didn't once think, oh, he must be special ed. She thought, why am I in here? I don't know why she thought that. I thought it was pretty obvious I had autism, but everyone tells me I don't seem autistic. And I like to believe it, I like to think I don't act autistic. I have autistic qualities, obviously. I'm never going to deny that. I used to deny it, but my mind's been opened a bit. But when your friend who likes to be honest with you, change your life for the better because he criticizes you, and he criticizes you often, like, your hair looks shit today. Okay, I'll get that sorted. I'll get a haircut soon. That type of stuff. When that person says you don't act autistic, it feels good. It makes me think maybe I'm not that bad. Still, I'm bad, but it is what it is. If you match my energy, it's not that bad, I swear. Anyway, that long tangent, I forget what I was talking about. Probably something about my father and autism, but I don't act autistic, or Asperger's, whatever the hell. I'm just going to call it autistic. I can't remember to call it Asperger's. But everyone thinks I don't act autistic, at least the people say I don't. And I think that's why he forgets, or at least that's my theory, he forgets I have autism, because I don't act autistic enough. Which is very ableist if you think about it. If it's true, of course. If he just forgets because I don't act enough. Like, it sounds stupid, but if you could see through my eyes, you'd see exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like that. When I was younger, especially then, I acted very autistic. It's a miracle he forgot that I had autism. Or I hope he forgets. Because if he just knows but doesn't do anything about it, that's even worse, honestly. I'd rather you forget than be blamed for it and you say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about it. That's my bad. Rather than, oh yeah, I knew, I just didn't do anything about it. That my bad? No, it is. I'm very rambly today. I always am when it comes to my dad, I guess. But yeah, he seemingly forgets I have it. Countless examples of him making me do things that he knows I'm uncomfortable doing. Not to get me started on food as well. Oh, food, my enemy. When you go, most of your life eating processed, frozen junk, then you tend to have a pretty bad palate. And for the most part of my life, it's been like that. I've had a shit palate. Even to this day, my palate is still very picky at times. Although I don't really think that's I don't think that's the food's fault. I think that's just my pickiness showing through. Now, I'm not saying that is my autism, but it is a common thing that people on the spectrum are pretty picky about certain things, even if it makes no sense at all. Like, if you make me food that I think of as soft, like there's no bite to it, there's no crunch, but you make it for me and there's a bite at all to it, I'm going to be very put off. I'm not going to eat it. If it's crunchy at all, I will not eat it. So when You live in a society that loves crunchy food. It can be a bit annoying at times. Like, crispy bacon is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but people love it apparently. I don't see how you love it, but okay. You do you guys. You do you. Who am I to judge? Am I right? But I'll go to a restaurant and I'll see a nice bacon burger and oh man, that sounds good. Crispy bacon? Get the fuck out of here. I'll have the normal burger then. Stuff like that. I'm limited in my options because of myself. I've tried to be more open to food in the last few months, and it's been great. I've enjoyed foods I've never thought about eating before, but in the end, I'm still picky. But it's a very manageable picky. It's not like I can eat like only 10% of the food people can. I can eat most of the food people can. As long as you make it right, I will eat it for you. Or at least you make it to my standard. Or how I like to eat food, then I'll eat it. Unfortunately, he forgets I hate crunch. He forgets that. Okay, here's an example. He made me rice and it turned out yellow. I don't know how it was yellow. He didn't put anything on it, but he bought like yellow rice. And he bought this rice for me only, by the way. No one else in the house. His wife doesn't eat rice. He doesn't eat rice. I used to eat a lot of rice. But every now and then he'll buy me yellow rice. He'll buy me yellow rice and he'll put that with like my steak or whatever he's giving me. And he'll expect me to eat it. And the first time this happened, I ate barely any of it. And he asked me, "Why didn't you eat it?" And I was like, it's yucky, it's yellow. And he's like, "Oh, I get it. So he made me the same thing again, like 2 weeks later. It was yellow rice. And I ate none of it. And he's like, "You didn't eat a lot of that rice. Why not?" I was, "What do you think? I said I don't like it." It'd be like that sometimes. That's how it's been for the longest time. Like, I can get it if you forget I don't like some, but come on. It's sometimes pretty obvious. And it's kind of your job to remember that stuff, when you're feeding someone. You only have to remember what two people like, because you and your wife have the same palate, but your son is a very different one. You only have two things to remember. And yellow rice with bits in it, I'm pretty sure you could manage to figure out that I don't like it. After I tell you I don't like it, but oh my god, you know how it is. Food has been a trouble for me all my life. The way I am, I haven't eaten enough food in like literally a decade now. I'm skinny. I don't know how obvious it is, but I'm skinny. Almost, maybe actually am underweight. I really want to get that checked out, but every source I see online says, "Oh no, you're the perfect weight. You're a healthy 5'8", 17-year-old boy who weighs 10 stone." And it's probably right. It's probably right. But when I can see all my ribs, count all my ribs, and I don't have to suck in at all, I can literally just blow out my chest as much as possible, and I can still count all my ribs. I think there's a problem there, but what do I know? It's a miracle I'm not fainting every day because I'm so weak. I don't know how I've kept my strength. I'm so skinny. I realistically should be very weak. Not to glaze myself, I'm not that strong either. My max benched is, I can bench 60 kg. That's not very much, I have no idea what else I can do. But anyway, yeah, so food's been a trouble for me. I'm pretty sure I'm anorexic, like self-diagnosed, but I'm not gonna say I am if I'm not, but I tend to have a lot of the symptoms. What else? Just yak about my father, because there's so much to complain about with him. Once upon a time, he bought me a sword for Christmas, I think it was, or it was my last birthday. I don't know which one it was, but it was one of them. It was a gift anyway. And he bought that sword, After I showed him a list of like 12 to 15 items that I recommended, high quality, they won't break, and I'll get plenty of use out of them. And I try to keep it as cheap as possible. So what he do is he went to a site I've never heard of, site that has no credibility, and he bought a sword. A sword that has no basis in history, completely ahistorical, based on a claymore with a round handle, with a ahistorical pommel, with an ahistorical hilt, with an ahistorical manufacturing, ahistorical blade. There was nothing about that was good. And the blade was especially bad because it was in this weird limbo of being a blunt blade and sharp. Because it wasn't sharp, it was jagged in a way that sometimes if you ran your finger across it, you'd cut yourself. But it should be impossible because it's blunt. It's not sharpened at all. Even after I tried to sharpen it with sandpaper, which doesn't work, obviously, it still didn't do anything. And I asked him the day I got the sword from him, "Where'd you get this sword from?" And he said, "I don't know." He didn't know where he got the sword. He bought it recently. When I asked him, he didn't even know. How do you not know where you get an item from when it's a gift? And, I didn't complain too much until eventually the hilt became loose. And what this meant is it would shake if you held it at all. There's nothing you could do to fix it. It would just shake. And eventually it got so bad to where the hilt would spin. So you literally cannot hold it without the guard spinning around. I don't know how to show it, but blades facing this way and the hilt is facing this way, and sometimes it would just, spin around. Like, you can't control it. And it made it impossible to use. And I told my dad, and he was like, "No, it's fine. I mean, you can just screw it back on." I told him, "No, that's not how swords are. That's not how swords work." It's like, "Yeah, but you just screw it back on, You couldn't screw it back on, by the way. It was literally broken. And not too long ago, very recently, while I was actually get to use the stick, I was swinging the sword like this. Just a regular cut from Wrathguard. And while I was about here with the sword, the blade fell off, the guard fell off, the pommel fell off, and some cylinder inside the guard fell off too, and all that was left in my hand was the hilt. So I had a blade next to my face falling off the sword. I could have gotten hurt, and I almost did, because when the blade fell, luckily it fell away from my head, but it fell next to my foot, and I was barefoot. I could have gotten stabbed. And it was a blunt sword, but it had a tip to it, and it was not a blunt tip at all. It was sharp. It could very realistically go through you if you thrust it at someone. And a blade falling onto your foot, it will cut, it will hurt, it could seriously damage you permanently if you're unlucky. And that's the danger of the bad quality swords, by the way. If they fall apart, you can do serious damage that you'd never think you could do. It's almost more dangerous than an actually sharp, well-made sword. Alas, I'll talk about that another time. The sword broke. And I can't really tell you without showing you like a diagram, but I don't have a diagram. So you're gonna have to look up it yourself. If you know what if I can remember what it's called, a tang. A sword has a tang exactly like a knife has a tang. There are a few types of tang. The main type of tang you'd see on a sword is a full tang. Sometimes you'd see a half tang. Now on bad quality swords, you see something called a rat tail tang. And what this is, it's a very thin piece of metal that goes down the hilt into the pommel. And that's a bad quality sword. That's the very bad kind that will break. The sword, every sword has a tang. Whether it's good, full tang, or bad, rat tail tang, it doesn't matter. Every single sword has one. But the sword I had no tang at all. If you know anything about swords, that explains everything to you about the quality of the sword. No tang pretty much means it's unusable. It's literally not usable. It's a miracle it didn't break earlier, because it didn't have a tang. It's hard to really grasp how much that means if you don't know anything about knives or swords. Just look at the diagram and you'll see what I mean. Or watch a video about tangs. It opens your eyes a bit if you don't know about it. But yeah, so I laid out all the pieces on my floor, waiting for my dad to come. And when he came in, he had the audacity to say to me, "What did you do? What happened?" And I lost it. What did I do? No, what did I do? What did you do? Where did you get this thing? And then I explained a tangent to him about tangs and how they're constructed. And just then, he showed me a lot of respect by farting in the middle of my conversation. And then he didn't call any attention to it, I wouldn't notice. And of course I noticed, especially when I sat down. Because when I sat down, he farted next to my desk, so I had to smell it for the next 10 minutes. I was losing my mind. It smelled like dog shit, because he's him. He's a guy, in his near 50s or something. Yeah, in his 50s. So yeah, I got a lot of respect that time. I asked him, "Where did you get the sword again?" Because maybe this time he knew, and he told me, "I don't know, did I not tell you?" I'm surprised I didn't roll my eyes at the time, because Jesus Christ, I could have actually killed him. So I was very disappointed in him, and he said, "Jesus, for 300 I thought it would have been better. I showed you swords worth 200 and slightly more. The most expensive thing I showed you was 500. 200 euro sword, and you wouldn't buy it for 400 because of shipping. It would have lasted me pretty much forever. But you buy a knockoff sword for 300 that has nothing that I like about swords on it. I don't even like claymores. I don't give a fuck about claymores. I barely care about long swords. But you buy one anyway. Ignore all my recommendations. Ignore all my advice. Buy some shitty knockoff from a place you don't even know. And a place I've never heard of especially. I've never seen the damn sword before. Because it's not a real sword." And yeah. So now I have no swords. Because they're all broken. Because I have never gotten a real sword before. And yeah, so that left me very disappointed. In him, too, by the way. I'm very disappointed he ignored all my advice just to buy a knockoff from a site he didn't even bother remembering. And then he accused me of breaking it for a minute. That is what it is. It's crazy because if I had a sport hobby, he would spend hundreds in a single moment in a sport shop. Buy me boots, buy me gear, buy me helmets for rugby or hurling or whatever the fuck. But my hobby, my sword hobby, my historical arms and armor hobby, no. I don't approve of that. So I'm not going to buy you what you want. I'm not going to spend any amount of money, no matter how long it takes. That's your problem. I'm going to let your mom buy all that. So he's definitely not approving my hobby. He hasn't said that. He probably likes that I have a hobby, but not that kind anyway. He would have preferred something else. Understandable, but Jesus Christ. At least support me in my hobby, especially when my mental health was worse. Anyway, that's just a little tangent about my father, I suppose. Might just turn the camera around, actually. I don't know how well it will stand if I turn it around, but hey, that works, I suppose. I'm on the lawnmower because I'm tired. To be honest with you. What to say? I could literally complain about my father for years. Yeah, I really just can't get over how much stupid shit he does. But alas, some of the things he does is kind of hard to explain to someone if you don't see the world from the eyes. But anything else to talk about? Sorry, dead silence went away. I don't want to stop talking, even though my voice is getting very dry. My throat is in pain. Let's see. Actually, let me just pause for you. And I'm back. Okay. Food. I'll just go back to food, I guess. I don't remember if I said it in the last video too, or like the second last video. But food he gives me is so dog shit. Like 2 days in a row, he said to me, if you get hungry, you can have the gorgeous lasagna, or like gorgeous spaghetti in the fridge, or gorgeous spag ball, whatever the fuck it was. I was gonna have it. Because that spag ball or spaghetti or whatever the fuck it was 2-day-old bare minimum leftovers that was left in the fridge for days and cooked. That was going to be reheated in like a microwave. So you obviously, you can probably tell why I didn't want to have it. And that's kind of how he is with food. He's pretty blind to food. Like, I'm sure he'd love to say like he's a connoisseur of good food or good wine, but I'll trust his opinion on wine. But food, no. He'll serve me the most dog shit of food, and I'll say to him, I don't like it, and he'll go, why? This is delicious. And I'll just be glaring at him like, okay, I'm so glad you like this dog shit food. That's great for you. Maybe you could serve me a steak instead of, 2-day microwave lasagna. I'm just remembering the audacity. Fun fact about my mom, the angel she is. She buys in no food. She doesn't buy takeaway for me, despite actually asking. I say no sometimes. She doesn't buy me stuff. She makes smoothies, delicious smoothies. That's probably where half my calories come from, honestly. But she makes everything homemade. Lasagna, spaghetti, burgers. She makes everything herself. And not only does it make everything taste better, because pre-made food tastes like dog shit. Fast food feels horrible, and real food is made with love, and it feels like that because she takes a lot of time out of her life just to make food for me, and the reward is my mental health went up. Suddenly, I like eating food again, which I've never liked food. It used to be my least favorite part of life because I hated food because I only ate junk for most of my life. And she cooks it with love, she makes it herself, and it tastes pretty damn good if I say so myself. Like, she makes a killer lasagna, I can't lie to you. So literally every meal of my day is made fresh with her. Then I go to my father's house, and he finds out that I like lasagna that my mom makes. So he buys in lasagna from like Super Value or whatever. I think it's Super Value frozen aisle pre-made lasagna. He'll throw it in the oven for like 20 minutes. He'll serve it to me burnt. How do you burn pre-made food? I don't know how you burn pre-made food, but he manages it because he's a thunderhead. At least with food, he is a thunderhead. So he burns the pre-made frozen lasagna. He will serve it to me. I will begrudgingly scoff it down because I kind of need to eat, you know? My body needs food. I'll eat as little as I can, though, to be fair. And then I'll get up, throw the rest away to the dog. Then he'll be like, "You sure you don't want any more? There's a lot more there." I'm like, "No, I don't want more. I don't want more." He's like, "You sure? You're not hungry?" I'm like, "No, I don't want more. I'm fine. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm fine." Then the next day, for dinner, I'll go downstairs, and to my horror, he'll be taking out the leftover microwaved lasagna. Not only was it pre-made frozen lasagna that you burnt, but then the next day you throw it in the microwave and give it to me again. And I have it. And I just want to die because it tastes abhorrent. It tastes so utterly miserable to your taste buds that you just want to die inside. And then I'll eat it slowly. I'll eat as little as I can. I'll try to rest away to the dog, and he'll go, "Are you hungry still? There's plenty more in the tin." And I'll go, "I'm fine. I don't need any more." Now, despite how I talk about my dad, like, and how much I hate his food, I still say thank you. I have some manners to myself. Now, he gives me food, I'll say thank you afterwards, whether it tastes like dog shit or not. Now, I say that, but maybe not so much when he makes microwave lasagna. Then I might just walk out without saying anything. He hasn't commented on it before. It's probably just like he thinks I forgot to say it, which, you know, sometimes I do that too, but I pretty much never thank him if he makes me microwave lasagna. But that's beside the point. The point is, one day we were talking about it. Like, not so much about actually how he cooks it, but we were talking about lasagna. And he was like, "Oh, you like this, right?" I was like, "Yeah, it's so good." This was when this was like the second time he bought it, and he actually used the oven to cook it. And he didn't burn it. You know, it's actually not the worst when he doesn't fuck it up somehow. And it's not leftovers and not microwaved. If it's cooked in the oven, day one, you know, it's not the worst thing ever. I've had much worse. And we were talking, and he was like, is it like similar to your mom's lasagna?" It's like, "No." I was like, he was like taken aback, like, "What? What do you mean your mother's made with love lasagna that she makes with an hour of her day? What do you mean that's better than this pre-made lasagna that I found in the frozen aisle that I'll make for you again with leftovers?" And I said, "It's worse than my mom's lasagna." And he was like, "No, it's not. It's the same." If he ever says that again, I will lose it. Even then, I was like, "No, it's not even close. My mom's lasagna is way better than this. Don't even compare these two." And I think he got the message that I'm not defensive about it. I wasn't defensive. I was just making sure he knew that I'm not taking that bullshit from him. And I think he got the message real quickly because he got real quiet and suddenly he didn't have much to say. I was like, just looked away, like nothing to say, like, okay, I can see on that. Now, that's him with food. Like, defensive over food he doesn't even make. Like, frozen dog shit that he'll gladly make microwave leftovers out of. That's how he is. And that's a reason might be anorexic. Because I would love to eat more food. But when the food you're given is utter dog shit, then, like, no. I'm just waiting for the opportunity to if he ever says, "Do you like the lasagna?" I'll be like, "No." And he'll be like, "Why?" I don't know. I just don't really enjoy when you make leftover microwave lasagna, you know? Especially when you burn it in the oven. Somehow. You didn't even make the fucking thing. Like, if he ever asks that, I'll happily tell him I fucking hate it. But, you know, when I'm out stuffed with dog shit lasagna, he's like, "Is it good?" And I'll just go, "Mm-hmm." He'll just walk away. Little does he know that doesn't mean yes or no. That can mean both. That's just a me thing. It means nothing. But yeah, plenty of gripes with my father like that. Oh, I just remembered a story. Fun fact about me: I hate jewelry. I don't like how it looks on women or men. I will never wear jewelry. I never wore jewelry. I think it looks disgusting, and that's because of my anti-bias against it. Because my ASD makes me hate touching them. They consider ruined objects in my mind. So I can't touch it, and it can't touch me or my belongings or anything without me getting uncomfortable. And although my mother used to not wear jewelry, nowadays, seeing as we don't really have as much touch anymore, she doesn't really bother, and that's fine with me. If you don't touch me enough to warrant it, especially if you don't touch me with like your necklace or your bracelet, I mean like your anklet, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't. But this has been an open part of my life for all my life. Everyone knows. Every single person knows, including my online friends. They'll send me a picture of like a bracelet they bought or earrings they bought, and they'll be like, "I know you don't like them, but like, look at that. They look so cute." And I'll be like, I do not like that. Ew. And then this is the fun part. My father, for the most recent Christmas, I think it's the most recent one, he bought me a 200 euro bracelet. And he said to me something along the lines of, "I know you don't like jewelry, but I was hoping you'd wear this because it shows my love." And I said, "No, I won't wear that." That was the only thing he bought me that Christmas, by the way. He didn't buy me anything I cared for, which not sound like a whiny little bitch that didn't get what he wanted for Christmas. I don't want to sound like a brat, but like, if you're gonna buy me something for Christmas, that's gonna cost you a shitload of money, and it's not like good clothes. Buy me a hobby that I'm interested in, or buy me anything I care for. Don't buy me the thing I've been trying to avoid my entire life. That thing that you acknowledge I cannot touch, and you buy it for me anyway. Because you had this stupid little idea in your head that I would just not care and do it anyway. I don't feel good about my special needs. You think I'm happy? Do you think I just don't touch stuff for the sake of it? I touch stuff because it affects me mentally. It's my psychology. You're asking me to do something that, to the equivalent of a normal person, is like sticking your hand in a deep puddle of mucky water with shit and grime in it. Imagine you're on a street, rainy, horrible day. You see a pothole in the road, a very deep pothole, and it's filled with almost black water, brown. There's clearly bugs living in it. It's disgusting. You wouldn't touch it for the life of you, but someone says, "Just for me, put your whole arm into the pothole and just touch the bottom of it, you'd say no, right? You'd be uncomfortable if you had to do that. Now imagine for all your life you've been forced to do that. That's what I see. That's how I see life. That's how life has been for me with my touch. So, with that analogy, imagine your father tells you, I know you hate it, but just for me and the lack of love I show you, put your hand in there, put your arm in there, put your whole body in there. You'd say no, wouldn't you? At least you should. You should have some assertiveness in yourself. You're better than that, right? You can do it. I believe in you. Be better than me. You can do it, I believe. It's like that for me. Like any normal person would. They know that no one wants to put their hand in deep, muddy water on the side of the road. Just as he knows that I don't like jewelry. And he buys it for me anyway. He bought me a pothole full of dirty, mucky water and said, put your hand in it, put your body in it, ruin yourself for me. And I had to say no. And now, in a drawer in my bedroom, in a box, lies a bracelet that I have never worn, that I have never taken out of the box, and I will never take out of the box. I would sell it if I could, but it's so useless. I don't know how it costs 200. It's literally like black beads. I don't know what they are, but it's not even good looking. It's horrible. It's so useless. It's so bad. It just goes to show me how little my father cares about my special needs. So, that's that. Now, I would love to yap more, but my voice is actually killing me. I wonder if you can hear it. Like, maybe I'm talking louder and less coherent. I probably am. But maybe I'm just getting too comfortable around cameras, but it's also that my voice is getting sore as fuck. So, I'll think I'll call it here for the day. Anyone who's watched this far, well done. You deserve a medal for watching an hour of me talking this weirdly about my father, about my weirdness. But you deserve a medal. Thank you for listening, and hope you watch again and whenever I decide to upload, which could be tomorrow, could be years, honestly. Either way, plenty of daylight outside. Hopefully there still is for you. Hope you get a good bit of air in. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.